mini Kimandra, Hans Mutine, do a share. Tango, that did you do. Tapije, the calling you one to the or the Chiwich in the see the shadow. The Zunga Bingo kitchen Mudra.
So then, if there are no questions, we will continue with the text. And I think before we move further along the text, I think it is important to remember that as you embark on the spiritual path, there is a difference in the scope of the motivation that you take with regards to a spiritual practice. As we discussed, small scope, medium scope, and large scope, and all of these are differentiated on the basis of the scope of the motivation.
Tadi Karte, Taingazo, Yenjunda, and Sanju send the Sarah. That need the go in Pachiti, did something I had to go my wrestler. Tadigala Carazana Penanda, Nelu Tobi, Shirem Medena, Aslara, then Nelu Yanda Pena Tombanina, so Tobi, and they shirred Medena. Medena and Junche, and Shanchu send needly dog. Inju Shanchu send a comje just combine the Yapot the real in a young lady or comje junk. CB Zawa Chiba Minibu, the Siba Koi, Zawa, Tanzim Maribala Soba, Zawa Chiba, Tugo Mares, Chiba Minipe Esra. Ani the ship landed to be tablet base later.
So then, as we discussed, in order for us to achieve liberation, we first need to develop that determination to be free, which is renunciation, and then merely having such a determination does not contribute to the cause of actually achieving liberation. We have to awaken the altruistic intention of bodhicitta. And now, moving further along with the text, the mere cultivation of bodhicitta as well as generating renunciation is not enough to cut samsaric existence from its root. So the next verse talks about the importance of meditating or cultivating the right view of reality. So it reads along the line of, if you lack the wisdom that realizes the nature of things, although you might grow accustomed to renunciation and bodhicitta, you will be incapable of cutting through conditioned existence at its roots. Exert yourself, therefore, in the methods for realizing interdependence. Yes.
Anichi Shanchu Sandu, Shanchu Sanda, Ninju, Peki Chamoire, in a Tony to be here with Loda, the Legira, the Tonilla Soba, Tomatuaina, Tandonga to Sipa Quay, Zawa to Chu, Mutuainza, in Jimmy to talk over the Ella Ra. Take it up and be over the S, tended to be tell and bear, studying Kanshi Condes, Kanshi and the Diladam. Tawa Tembala Papa, the Kanshi Quad and young day like Nilira, Kanshi Corn Dale Nilioda, Siba Quad and Shiwan young day like Jetty Lisra, Conde Chanam Tanjis, and it Junde Tende, Manzu Junde Tende, dependent Jutela Tendent debuting June. There, Junde Tende, Namia, Loa me Banzata, Linde, Namsha, Carolina Gobachliga, Namia Loa me, but this was the lay up which sign, Dylan de Woodioimba, they do judge sergeant. Dylan de would do him, the dig law me, but I made tonshis, the dig nail diana of Tomata answer. That me be te so, Manzopa, me be te so, can she, but me be te so than other Denzen the Shadra. Then they would demba them with Denzen, the mashi son, maybe so matuna, than doing on the lachic color. Call a quag is such hard with Ella. Maybe te so. Can she pass? They don't look some bantu in a long ra. Tene Sajeji Lambda shoes, let it. Tende any me pieces some by Shiva any Sajeji Baladigala, Java Saje Nam, any two neighbor, right? Tende Lambda, the sugar race mudra.
So then the ninth verse, it kind of shows us the reason why we need to cultivate the correct view of reality, which is that wisdom that realizes the ultimate nature of reality. And without coming to understand the ultimate nature of reality, even if one cultivates renunciation and generates the awakening mind of bodhicitta, one still wouldn't begin to address the root of samsaric existence. And then moving on, then the next verse shows us what is the correct view of reality. The one who sees that cause and effect operate infallibly for all the phenomena of samsara and nirvana, and for whom any objects of conceptual focus have subsided, has set upon the path delighting all the Buddhas. So, as the previous line, in the last line in the previous verse, calls us to exert ourselves in order to realize interdependence. So this describes the nature of interdependence, and a view that realizes that interdependence is indeed the ultimate nature and the way things exist in this world. So the one who sees that cause and effect, karma, the law of causality, operate infallibly for all the phenomena, for all things within samsara as well as beyond samsara in nirvana, and then for whom all the objects of conceptual focus here refers to grasping at a self of both person as well as phenomena. So with regards to the person, it's that conception of I as a separate, independent, absolute entity. With regards to phenomena, then we think that phenomena also, just as we think that the I exists as a separate, absolute, independent, truly existent phenomena, then we look at object to other phenomena in a similar manner. So what do we exactly mean by objects of conceptual focus? It means the focus of our objectification. We begin to objectify a collection of causes and conditions to be something separate from the collection of causes and conditions themselves. And when such objectification of person as well as phenomena begins to subside within our mind stream, then we have come to an understanding of how cause and effect truly operates, without how cause and effect operates truly in for all the phenomena in this samsaric existence as beyond samsara, and this is the correct view of reality, the right view of reality. Yes.
Chito di tis kali kabira ma jila thewale do khabara tene che tanda ani legda tene sanje jibe lang la shu le digala de yang ta be tawa ra tawa ta umegi lamdo le shu le tene jil ko sere nga den deba khashi ta tene song do ta hawa tende lowa me bata chino di ko sma dene ma karte ngula na tawe chebo zo be che ra tawa la chebo khaji khadi du nga zo go resna ti che te ngule da hawa tende lowa me bata nga zo choda hawa jura hawe ga nga zo chi haza ga la tende sha tu ba chera na di tende pe hawa chang de demba tu ba ra yo ra ne yo ma re sta nga tong ba yin ge ra thang do ni de nga zo zong hawa sha na tong ba sha ma de tong ba sha na hawa sha ma de nga zo di ka ngi the go ra che za tong ba khele the ko wa ni ha shu da tong shu ni de lo ko wa ni la da hawa tende lo ma ta tong ba khele the ko wa ni tende ge ha shu da tong shu ni 지시 소소나 단도에 지칼로 카카로 타데버지 니 하나 되어 있나 봐 지시 소소 나와 대시트 다돈 투비 공부 또 매매라 디가 아돈 하도 숨죽래 이제 냠도 더투게 거라 제가 아주 직 덴버도 버샤나 데미샤마데 데미샤나 데두카마데 덴디실리 되거라 어디 뒤송고서 근데 레라버 좀도 차버르시라 다돈 투비 공부 또 봐 매스레고 메일러다
So then I must admit that the discussions that follows after this point forwards mainly deal with emptiness and interdependence. So it might be particularly hard to follow at first, but we have to kind of bear with the text, and then things begin to make sense after a bit. So moving on, If that is the correct view of, yes, choice.
I have a question.
Hmm?
Sorry, the previous part I didn't follow. I'm sorry.
Which verse?
This last one, cause and effect and interdependence. So what if you can explain with an example, maybe like what is it that we objectify? I'm sorry, I didn't follow it.
Tanda Karangi Anzu Siji Juajida Kanji Korde Chunam Tamchi Junde Namya Loa Me Tongshi Mikbe Teso Kangi Kunjiba Dene Sanji Jibe Lamla Shuk Lajira Tina La Junde Namya Loa Me Ba La Di Chikchera Mikbe Teso Lajira Anzu Mikbe Teso Kandela Dembar Zingi Rives Ra Odi any Junde Da Mikbe Teso La Di La Dewa Kari Pedoji any Sondi Shuna any Kotsu Sares
지다 준데 로아 메발라 오든 아주 줄라는 아주 단단 콘도 코스스로 말해 데블은 프로라 대자 생각도 게 약고 겨 약고 사이는 그런 데부 되어요 말아 또 되어진 시와는 아니 계시 추락이 주두자 사이는 데부 동해 이거 말도 계시 후순을 하스나 주 겨와사 빠이네 데부 아니 동해 오디야로 라 주 아니 가라 동해 두어이네 데부 되어오데는 소와 그니 투디어라 저는 되게 투고 말았어. 저는 데부 그 대화사이나 지 겨사이는 데부 대화를 지 동해 먹여사이는 데부 동해 이거. 되니 로아 메바르라. 저만 말해 저는 게 강사 어디라는 데부 요라. 너무
teaching
디시.
Lamara. So then when we say that the one who sees that cause and effect operate infallibly, then we are making the point that is being made here is that the law of causality, karma itself, is undeceiving, and it doesn't begin to stop to operate because someone denies it. It is a law it is a natural law, wherein when we say cause and effect, cause, let's say, if you accumulate the causes for you to experience happiness, then the effect is similar to the cause. And if you accumulate causes to suffer, then you begin to suffer as an effect. And you cannot expect to accumulate causes which could contribute towards your suffering and expect to be happy, expect to experience happiness. And then similarly, you cannot. It is not the case that you accumulate the causes for happiness and then as an effect you begin to suffer. This is not the way that cause and effect operate. It is infallible that, in the sense that good causes corresponds to good effects, and bad causes corresponds to bad effects. It is infallible in that nature.
pen tabda pugro shan lobjun ya po chi na yitsing de bu ya bu ya do ra ni le ra ane lobjun ya ma je le lobjun ya cha ma je shuma ise tan de bu ngum da ni ro ra
So to give us to kind of explore this with a very simple idea, let's say there's a student in a school who has to appear for an exam. So if the student studies well, puts in the effort, then he or she can expect a good result. But if he or she doesn't put in the effort and doesn't study well, he cannot begin to expect a good result. So that's the infallible nature of causality in a very gross form.
지단기 양 진이 중고는 뭐 부지 시어는 시에 라 배낭 좀마 카차와 때는 스메도 주선했다는 양 아무도 지기 말했어 양 마신 바지 때는 만데도 때는 야 tro치기 말했어 코트로 선전에 야 tro치야다 데 선전은 되죠 진짜 등이 이소하는 거 난도 근데 배서 뭐 보셔라 라
So then, now this is a very surface level discussion. Now, in the proper way in which we investigate the law of causality as a dialectician, in the form of debate in the classical Buddhist tradition, then we kind of relate it with all phenomena. And for example, a simple way in which we explore the infallible nature of the law of cause and effect is For example, if you plant the seed for a chili to grow, you cannot expect for something sweet to grow out of that seed. And similarly, if you plant the seed for rice and then you expect wheat out of that rice, this is impossible. So this is the nature in which the law of causality is infallible.
칼라 되신데는 진대 가라라 당어도 가르이네 스스지 잠나도 지시도나 내가 가르치오니 미 강을 따니지게 통마도라리고 말아 소수기 레지 두제지 사이나 미게 통난다 마통난다 단다 키랑을 계산지라고 있나야 겨슈마 되는용으로 배나 단단한도 지금 장보도 고대우로 주마시기래 그마제 작화제 담을 제와진 단다 키랑을 지기 앞으로 지투고이네 슈만디기 되부도 쓰는 용으로
So then, with regards to the kind of ethical consideration with regards to the law of causality, then this becomes very important to recognize that the law of causality operates infallibly, because normally the way that we approach a good deed is with kind of an audience in mind, or in some cases like someone who a super entity above us who judges our actions. But this is not the way we understand the cause and effect. Cause and effect, even if you engage in something negative in this life and there is no one watching you, no one knows what you did, but the consequence of that action manifests itself in suffering for others and so forth, as a result of which it leaves an karmic imprint which ripens if not in this life, in some next life. So it's not because a super entity above us is judging us, or there's an audience who judges this. It's the law of nature itself that all actions have consequences.
Shilan pa torshe dongshe de de yomara ranga de demba de zen de ngiro ta ko zen se gi shikor mi dulan mi ti ko pa mi se gi shido ra mi wa cha na shi ba ina teni sanje ji be la la shu le ta ti nga zo to ni to bi ka ta wa di ta ra ju le che bi ra u me ta wa de ni ra ju le che bi an teni la la shu re do shi le.
So then when we're talking about objects of conceptual focus, or the focus of objectification, so then when we realize that everything arises in dependence upon causes and conditions, all phenomena, all our experiences arise in dependence upon a set of causes and conditions, then we realize that these phenomena, which appears to us as solid, separate, absolute entities, do not in effect, in reality, exist in this manner. That is now in that kind of contradiction between the way it appears and the way it actually exists, there is a way, the mind begins to impose that identity upon phenomena and experiences. So that's what we mean by objectification, wherein we kind of objectify an entity that arises in dependence upon causes and conditions to be something separate and not dependent upon those set of causes and conditions. So this kind of objectification and grasping at a concrete, absolute identity of self and phenomena needs to be overcome and subside. And when this subsides, then that you have come to a closer understanding of the reality of things.
Tanda dikabla karishigi dunra tanda tongwa le shio sabe na nganzo ngaras tanda pe rabaji shawaina nganzo tani dele yedo ra yedo go ngaras nawaji shawana si tani de yore ona shawa nangshi de ba demba de yore no yoma tanga de yejo de nganzo tanda khalena tanda ngaras thonde nawade shari de ba dagara demba jawa ra de yomare lan zawani ni me banze tende ji ko nganzo yore yomare da inja gita 근데 로지 켈렌 도고라 열이래 가는 탄이도 여봐 yo mare le de kan dembo de me ra dini ni jagi ani kelen to de bome서 다도 그니 요나 요 메나미 니게 다도 걸어 배 카가로지 차대죠 아 당초도 동초니 이제 지지를 바샤마투네 직 타니 되서는 배도 걸 대봐 이거 봐라 아니 타니 대마 메서는 타니 대 미고 봐라 진짜되나 아니 걸어 드셔보다 근데 아니 두번 공부한다 봐라 어메기 따와도 또 토요 말해라.
So then, if this is the measure of someone gaining a closer understanding of the true nature of reality, that kind of grasping and objectification begins to subside, then when does this analysis end? When does this analysis of a correct view end? So the next verse touches upon that. The knowledge that appearances arise unfailing independence, and the knowledge that they are empty and beyond all assertions. As long as these two appear to you as separate, there can be no realization of the Buddha's wisdom. So when we say that all things arise in dependence upon causes and conditions, and then we begin to say that since all things arise in dependence upon causes and conditions, they are empty of being truly existent. They are empty of being absolutely existent. So unless and until we cannot make sense of appearance, the apparent reality, and emptiness on the same basis, then if we kind of look at these two as interdependence as something separate, and emptiness as something separate, then we have not come to the completion of the proper analysis of right view. In the correct analysis, immediately when you recognize interdependence, you should at that very moment come to realize emptiness.
This is called deal shower in the rack.
So then maybe if it is hard to follow, we will use the example of a pen to explore this. So this pen appears to all of you as a pen. And does it appear as if it's really existent, truly existent here? Yeah.
데모트바 통과 딩히고 되가서 무지티니 뉴요레 딩이 뉴요레란서 다보자고요레 라 아니 가서 이게 뒤에 그 저지 지기요라 그래서 가서 말한 스탠다드 데모트바 젠데가 다가나 데모트바 옌베토라 두고서 이내야 디바 따네스니까 디갈 바타가나 바짜지다나 라 뉴요도 가데레도 딩고데레도 디데도 디네레도 가르도 파지 짜가도 니에요 라 다가나시 수수가 나라서 부대가 나이라 지리고라 라 아이 그가 드라마이 다와르마이 크란치킹은 미미타서 시지도 나도 다가란 젠데고 근데 바짜가도 이게 트라데레데 옌고데레데 미데레데 라파 감바 레레네 버시든 나도 얘기입니다 라 이내 아주 마이나나 파네지 바타 거데레란 라 근데로 시작해
So then of course it appears as truly existent to us because we bought this pen with our own money. Then we use this pen to write something down. We make use of the pen, and that's because, and then we put the name on it. We call it a pen. So it appears as if it is truly existent. Now that is exactly what we mean by objectification. We base our understanding of the existence of this pen on that very appearance, because it appears as truly existent. Now, if the pen is truly existent, as the term suggests, then we should be able to find that pen, right? And the name pen should refer to something. So, which is the pen? Is it the top part of the pen? Is it the nib? Is it this cap? And now there should be something called pen in this pen. Then when you begin to look for it, then you realize that it appears merely as a designation, as a term that we imposed upon this collection of parts and parts and pieces. Otherwise, there should be a pen in a part called pen, somewhere in the pen. But this is not existence. So this is what we mean by lack of being truly existent. Now apply this to yourself. You say that I exist. You feel that you exist. And then if there is indeed that I, the term I, then there should be a referent of the term I that exists. Something that you can point at. So then which part of your body is the I? Is it the head? And so that's the manner in which we begin to objectify something that does not truly exist.
지금 던저디 깔코다 나라에는 들로라긴 산왕왕 땅데 같으니 그런 저이나 사자 텐데다 아니라 동반이니가 봐 진짜 저기 때는데 그것도 반복지다 뮤직이라나 어디 뉴 덴버레레 딩고에 말디에 디 상마선이 뉴그래 알아지라 디 상마에 소 찍기를 때니에 소데 지래야 텐데를 봐지다 대 데모트 보지 바라시 요라는 요마라 봐
So this is exactly what we mean by interdependence. What we mean by interdependence. So we cannot find the pen that we a few minutes ago was so sure truly exists. So then how does the pen exist? The pen, not the term itself, the pen, but the function of the pen and the phenomena of the pen arises because of a lot of set of parts, particles, different causes and conditions. It does not exist separately from these parts and pieces and causes and conditions.
당아라 쓰자디온 테슬레하도라 그냥 나 데보인라디가라 니 루들레 코디지로 라 나치부인레디 니 셈들레 코디 라 난 잠잠 니 루르디 나 파샤 알아 루디 다오제니야 나 지브서로 니셈 니 루르디 양한 잠자 가시린도 괜찮지도
So the fact that this is a mistaken conception becomes evident in the contradictory way in which we refer to ourselves when we relate it to this conception of the person called I. So sometimes you say, oh, I'm feeling very well when you're referring to your body. And sometimes you say, I'm very happy when you're referring to something separate from the body, which is the mind. And then sometimes you say that oh, my body is not holding up too well, as if there is an I that is separate from the body. So why is there so much contradiction if there is indeed such a truly existent I? Why is there a contradiction in the way we refer to that I?
세상 가서 된대기다. 야 가서 요 말에 대두 용되지. 좋아. 자원인데 요 말에 가서 메나 가서 주 두녀도 좀 겨와서는 대부 동해 용이다. 이 겨와서는 아니야. 대부 대화 용이 요 말에는 레데기 때지 집이야 용이 주로. 대메바이나 가서 다리들 걸 두바체네 계산 겨와서는 다 가르는 이걸 대부를 신나다 가나게 제고야. 야 레데기 때지 집이야 기회되니로.
So this is very important to understand. Otherwise, you gain a very misconstrued understanding of emptiness, wherein you begin to deny everything, that nothing exists. Because if everything is empty or being truly existent, then you think that then nothing really makes sense anymore, nothing exists anymore. How can there be cause and effect in the first place? Then it doesn't matter whatever kind of actions we take in this life, it wouldn't have any consequence in this life or in the next life. This, due to that kind of danger of misunderstanding emptiness separately from interdependence, then we need first to understand that the two, appearance and emptiness, are intertwined, that they come from the same basis. So it comes down to this statement of the Buddha in the Heart Sutra when he says form is emptiness And then you accept that, okay, form is empty of being truly existent. Then after a few, in the very next segment, he goes on to say, emptiness is form.
di tsangi di kale kaburu ra chatla shezang jogi tang zo ngara roji di samtan de de ko le gor de na chirang de ngone tane gi pete ko to ni ko la pa ya pu ko ji si sim ba ji ra go na na to di yo o ma na lo ma ba a so so go lo chirang zo di le je pa sa ji mi ta ni le de le ma te ma tu ro chi yi lo ra ba zamzane khala de na ama hashi 안주 파다시 찌니 파찌 바다가 파찌 버치는 마통아 다가라 통화 담바일라 되라 돈이 봐 안주 배 다드진 째다 째는 째다라 많이 봐디 안 돈이도 원이라 인데 요 저희는 아주 돈이래 얘기 때문에 렐라부시에지 말이라 나라기 고아차와징이 셰라 마시 돈이래 들으면 쇼징이 땡서부시 통마라 근데 이니까 안처럼서 스페셜로 아니 단도 라마시 맞아니 아니 메라게 티 되는 신라 오딘이 저 남성 아주 지라티 쉐베지 말이
So then emptiness is not something that one can easily get at the first try. I must admit that I am giving you an understanding of emptiness up to the best of my ability. And if you really want to pursue like a study of emptiness, then I encourage you to read further. But it is important to realize that when we are talking about emptiness, it is important to keep in mind that it still has to be free from the extremes, what we call a middle way, free from absolutism and nihilism. That is a measure of a closer understanding of our emptiness. And then in the many kind of teachings that I've received and many texts that I've read, it is explained that emptiness is not something that is easily kind of recognizable and easily understood, and it cannot be something easily communicated. It comes from constant investigation. The understanding must come from constant investigation, not from a set of instructions. And the measure of someone coming to a closer understanding of emptiness or almost realizing emptiness. One of my teachers used to say that when you begin to analyze, keep analyzing, then you come to such a subtle level of analysis wherein nothing begins to appear. And that's the measure of someone who has come to a closer understanding of emptiness, that lack of appearance.
la parte van te to ka bujur so so nyong gon son tai da kong kong do chi gom te ten en chi tu go ji ra de china nga zu chi shin ba yin nga zu chi le la bu xie do pe do sha na pe de ni la nga zu ding wu de lan xie do ka to ni de le la bu ma re ra.
So the other kind of discussions we could kind of relate it to our everyday experiences and so forth. But since it is very difficult for someone to have a direct realization and experience of emptiness, there is not much everyday experience we can relate it to. Joyce. Yes?
So, in which emptiness is a very difficult subject for me. When I think I grasp it, then it's lost and I'm very confused. And I would like kind of a reminder that how the understanding of emptiness is useful in the daily life regarding to the self-grasping. It's because we kind of flexibilize or let go of the conceptions we have about ourselves, about others, which results in less attachment, less aversion. Like how it would work when you really meditate into emptiness, how daily life would be different.
동만이라도 그런 게를 신나는 거네 또 가버려도스 고스에 가보시오도스 이나야스 동만이라도 곰잡라 니 퇴섬제 니 삼노당데 지나스라 아니 카일라에게 미진나라스라 아니 되자시다나서 뭐 좀에 아니 다지나서 뭐라 좀에라 티키 케벤한테 그랬어 디 에닝 안저기 동반이 네 거를 삼았다면 개변 한제 용도는 거 직선분을 해보듯.
단단한 저기 가르려나 디 편에 컬러 편도 가르려나 아주 단단치 미지 군도질라나래 떨어지 땅 쓸게 보가 거기 댐바져버 또 정말 오늘 바다들은 이거 뭐라 봐 내려지 땅 앞에 오늘 거라도 쉬우지도 대바 댐바 된전전 되게 쉬우죠 나는 가서 미지 다고는 야고 추신 돈이 떨어다나 싫어 가면 봐 내려다나 그래도 디 떨어다 내려서는데 르 따바 장지는 그거 라바나지 대마이 잡아야 말이야 근데 이 밑에 지 칼로 호재도 무슨 침부로 책에서 했었더라.
So this we can relate it the kind of benefit of looking at everything through the lens of emptiness. Because let us see how we normally relate to a remark that you do not like, someone saying a word that you do not like about you. Then with the word itself and the feeling that inspires in you, where does it come from? Because you have conceived of yourself as something absolute. You, me, that's lack of understanding emptiness. And the other, the words themselves, we hold the words to have absolute meaning, that the words have the absolute meaning to hurt you. Because you have imputed that kind of absolute power onto the word. So if you are able to look at the self as not as empty or being truly existent, then furthermore, you see that the word itself, it does not have any inherent meaning or power to hurt you. So then you do not react in the same manner that you normally do with such an emotional response, feeling, he said something about me, something bad about me. Because you will learn to let go of attaching that kind of absolute power and meaning onto the word, as well as being hurt about this word being directed towards you, which is a misconceived idea of the person.
그나가도 미지기 떨어져 드라지라 같이 가시질라나 데디번 한마 전화를 가르러 샤워 빼시하는가 같이 전화를 쓱 나포로 가르러라 이제 빵고로 어느 꿈마 도질라 엔다 센데로 로이나 시디 하마데레데 심마 지나 드라tam도가 너가 또 떨었다는 사람한테 시에디 코라이 드라마시지라 라 티드라디야 파혼에 가라 특히 하마데레 심마데레데 안데 디데도 그 чел링 구주스 때 드라지레와 다 가래로 나온다 근데 이게 가도 이 드라지레케니 디기 드라지레 가도 파길로데 심니 콩가라 덴데지 라폰라 라 아무 안줄로 코어디 가도 덴버르데 덴버든 아니 가도 콘돌라니도 라 티 계시 덴버 만세나 가도 이따때 페타 라바르다 계시 코라이 가르라라 디네 벨루나시 샤 디네 마냐네 발란서 땅세나 강인게 튀인다 라 아주 가리니 최다지 참 덴버데오라 디게 아니 덴버드 거기 시지샤 들러 덴버데 들러 자신치 디가도 강인게 튀이더라 근데지다
So then now look at the words. If we are able to understand that the words are just sounds, that they do not have inherent meaning in themselves, the meaning we impose onto the words. And we impose the meaning onto the words because we relate the word that is being spoken with that misconceived idea of the self. He said this about me. And similarly, praise, blame. Why do we have like these two type of different reactions towards praise and towards blame? Does someone praising you make you a better person? It doesn't. Does someone calling you a thief or something, does that make you a thief? No. So the response, it affects the kind of response that we give to outer conditions. Wherein we are economos now, if we are able to understand that the words themselves, being called a thief, doesn't make me a thief, it's just a word. Unless and until I make it true by stealing something. So that's the kind of restraint that we can adopt and cultivate from developing an economist view, which is informed by that appreciation of emptiness.
Then chunzungal tik dujaji yalla da. Ka chunzu ke tol.
Okay, then let's explore this. I want all of you to shout one particularly bad word in your own language.
Just
one example.
I can't.
Colorful language.
In our own language.
Yeah.
Yes.
Baje. Which means bad.
Bajila.
Bajela na dujala.
It means bad.
Bad.
Yeah.
Cheta tat namdu ngi di dadle ngi di demba zema ki ngi dadi namdu ngandu pegela ta dujala na ta dujala kora. Duja sigura. Tadi namdu so di dadle ngandu ta pege tola ngandu hako za miji ngal dujala ngi namsa inji tura. Ra. Chi shemba ji shoga bajela ta dong ya gemu she de la. Ta ngi di koa di ke di shena. Di ngi ya dile ko ngal dujala so ne. Cheta ngandu pa ta ma ta re da. Ra.
So from this example it becomes clear that words in themselves do not carry that kind of meaning and power to insult or to inflict harm, because in a different language it doesn't make sense to me. If I hear this word, I would actually smile and say, oh, what is he saying? But when I hear the meaning behind it and learn the language, then I impose that meaning onto the word. Otherwise, if the words have inherent inherent existence, words have inherent power, inherent meaning, then in any kind of language, if you say it, all the people should be offended similarly. But this is not the case. So this is a very gross example of how we impute the meaning, value, and existence onto things, wherein it is not established from the object side itself.
Bajila. Jagatano bajila ni endedo, balili sajiro jukoro da. So so ki pata sajiro. So bajila oh ta nga sajid sa ando gaya gre ya ra. Cheta nga ki cheta pa siktubu de la di ko dujar ni pata shaendo midi phije ta di magaya lo chengu da. Ode sigi yapor la nga ki pata shaendo sisi di phije ta di gaya ro. Ma je pata del sere ani ko ndu la nga tedi ji du thing dura.
So that is exactly what we mean by objectification, wherein we think that the objects themselves have inherent meaning, inherent kind of existence. So from the words that we use, it becomes clear that if Baji in your language means bad, but then Baji also refers to beaten rice. So if the words themselves have inherent meaning, then it should elicit the same kind of sentiment when it's uttered. But this is not the case. That's why we say that things exist merely as imputation of the mind. The mind begins to impute a set of term for something. The mind begins to associate meanings with these terms. From the thing itself, there is no absolute or inherent value or existence.
Tanda bajile no numbaji ko tapat numbaji ke indra. So jagare kare.
Jaga is, are you Indian?
He is Indian.
But
Baje means it's from east of India, Kolkata, Bengali language.
Bengali kids.
So Bengali ke ra. Tanga ke ma ke kala ngal new year mi ba. Kesi bajile de ngone thani ko be duja yin musu ko ne ka ngi thibo ra. Inde chagar. Inde remda. Khana numbai mi jile bajile na lun lan pe. Ta te yan dan dan ke chebare pe jotang ma ba chebare le sigra. Ine tanga chi ki manzu lo pa trin she jiro jida ra. Sik duja kharina tambudi sik o te be duja le ra. Ha sik de be ya bor le do je. Chinju ga de no so so na lo ra. Tende ji komba chi chinju an chi chen ni si bi ta ni o ko ngal nak bu le se le ra. Ti le ni ji pe na mi pe le ni ji lo do ji me ba ina ko ya bu la na duja la na 콜레지기 편은 로음다. 그래서 나중에 지 가시 나주 덴바 인라 거때. 야 강이 테 시마 안 제도다.
So this is why we say that things are empty of being truly existent. Things are empty of inherent existence, and they exist merely as imputed designations by the mind. So as we explore through this idea that baji, that word, if the word baji is a phenomena, and the word baji, if it is a phenomena, then if a phenomena is truly established and truly existent, then the word baji should inspire the same sort of sentiment when it is uttered among everyone. But this is not the case. We begin to learn a language, and then in that language, in societal setup, we begin to kind of impute or impose a meaning upon a word, and that meaning can change over time. And this is the manner in which we begin to confuse what is apparent reality with the ultimate reality of the way things truly exist. Chua is Pujala.
No, like I think with this, when we said praise and win, we were talking about the eight worldly dharmas, right?
Where?
No. When you said like praise and win, there are 4 sets,
Yes.
and somehow I forgot. Like, so if you could just go through it again.
당한서 직변 취재를 해줘라. 뒤 안쪽은 직접 토나야거든. 당한서 기 뜨거다 메라는 기저 시사스. 되게 무자지기.
저때 시대 다디라. 뜨나가와. 해나 먹어. 봐. 아니 가. 다디 엔지리 시 마마 라이 니라 다라이 달라 마바 제라. 그것도 그렇잖아.
대담이데 니다마니.
니다마니라. 아니 라이 니나 가와. 생기 니나 먹어. 봐. 라니를 미터라타나 가와. 라니 가르서 미 심발을 들었다는 먹어. 어쨌다. 뜨미 아니 심바 가르.
니다마니.
뜨다 미 니다마니.
아니 그래. 디 게다나.
님바 주나 가와.
님바 맞죠.
님바 주나 라니를 님바 주나 가와. 제라 님바 주나 먹어. 투차서. 뜨미 니마니 치카르.
대담마데.
아.
대담마데.
게.
대담마데.
대마데 라니 대와 주나 가와. 신 대와 주나 먹어. 이러시라. 그래.
So now when we are talking about praise and blame, then we talk about praise and blame, pain and pleasure, loss and gain, fame and infamy in the context of what we call the 8 worldly dharmas or the 8 worldly concerns. So the way that we relate to our relationships is informed by this kind of experience, wherein if you are praised, you feel happy, and if you are and your friends and family are praised, you feel happy. But then, if who you consider to be your enemy is praised, then you are not happy. And then, similarly, when you are blamed, you are not happy. But if your enemy is blamed, you are happy. So similarly, pain and pleasure, loss and gain, fame and infamy.
이치라 단다 실로가 찍도와 제자다 근데 인자와 지선화 된다고도 yes 다 남시 렌조 메바 남시를 다 같이 된데 찍건데 찍라와 렌조 메바 라디가라 찍게 나시 렌조 메바 찍셔다 뒤지를 아니 소속이 나와다 동반인제 지도 똑똑발이더라 지처들 냠도 뒤지라 라 지셔도 가서는 상쇼 진대 당스래다 아니 내가 텐데 로아 메바 한소기 진대기 당 아니 텐데 로아 메바 인드라 텐데 로아 가서 텐데 밀러 통화 장이니스 다 한소도 동쇼니 이제 지체디 먼저기 로롱을 샤투가 텐데지 중앙이나 그라 텐데 아니 장이니래 디다 동쇼 당스 아니 니해 이진나 고실에 내가 저 로이토 롱을 해라 아니 라시지 주베긴 된다 라 미디 시파 젠당 그 신일 당아서 데마트베 미세기 시디 demba mebadi ko ba shiwa chasuna ra ale ko mise gi shikora midu san de jinga do cha do wa ina ra ko shina desa tawe cheba zobala la digala tidugala ngazo gi kalora pa toni to se gi tawa gi ta pa cheba zoba is ra ta toni to gi yela is de ra.
So then we will cover one last verse, and the 12th one, it reads, yet when they arise at once, not each in turn, but both together, then through merely seeing unfailing dependent origination, certainty is born, and all modes of misapprehension fall apart. That is when discernment of the view has reached perfection. So if the previous the previous verse talks about how you have not come to the completion of the analysis of the right view if emptiness and form or emptiness and interdependence appear as separate concepts to you, separate from each other, then when they arise at once together, concurrently, simultaneously, as soon as you realize the interdependent nature of phenomena, you immediately realize emptiness. So when you reach such a realization, a concurrent and simultaneous realization, and then through merely seeing dependent origination or interdependence, all modes of misconceived ideas, all modes of apprehension which are wrong begins to fall apart. All objectification ceases. So the way that we perceive of and apprehend objects is as being truly established. That is the mode of misapprehension that is being talked about here. So that mode of misapprehension of apprehending objects or conceiving objects as being truly established fall apart. When this kind of concurrent and simultaneous realization takes place, then you have completed the analysis of the perfect view.
Dara khadu roshana ya gadura kol ndawri tan ma chadida da chezan legda thawe yutha sewa slara thawa inza mazu yo mare la ji te pa sedu lesra thawe yutha sewa la digala tombe ge kol trochi ni ra tomba digi kol trochi ni thawe yutha sewa la digala thawa sam yo re sra tombe metha sewa ra tomba la digala thawe kol trochi ni ani metha sewa la do ra tombe metha seshin is karsa tombe metha seshin tomba yes ra thawa cha ji yuba in cha zo yo mar la di pa the do ra tomba re la di gala ya thawa cha yuba di yu sha chwa dintes kale khabu do ra mo dinde ji sha chwa ta ani yinde jodan debu ra jodan debu cherwi suhi ni dinde namsha ding zo ta dinde gi tende ding zo lo la chai ba ti gi sushin na sra den pana demba tu ba yo mar de ine lende gi tenshi chiba ji le te te ri sra dinde sushin na ani de koi namsha de shewa ina ani tanzen ta wa le ding la zo ta chi gi tanzen ji ro wa ona ben yene bet demba tu ba yo go ya ta mena bet ko zawani ni me go ya do ti gi ta chi gi tani de setu bi gane ra tanze tawe choba minji ro le choba minji le de kala ta dinde be zambadi gi ba la ma chu de jil ko yesre.
So I think it is better if we continue with the next verse because it ties into the discussion that we are having right now about emptiness. So the 13th verse, it reads, when you know that appearances dispel the extreme of existence, while the extreme of nothingness is eliminated by emptiness, and you also come to know how emptiness arises as cause and effect, then you will be immune to any view entailing clinging to extremes. So herein we are talking about the true extremes, the true extreme view that distorts the true nature of reality. One extreme is saying that nothing exists, and the one extreme is to say that everything is absolute and permanent. And in between that, there is the correct view of reality, which is emptiness. And then how does the correct view of reality, which is emptiness, how does that view overcome these two extreme views? So, when you know that appearances dispel the extreme of existence, so we say that the objects or things or phenomena exist merely as appearances or terms or designations, then we overcome the extreme view of saying that things exist absolutely or permanently or truly or as truly existent phenomena. And then when you understand that things are empty of being truly established, then we do not say that things do not exist at all. We say things are empty of being truly existent, empty of being being independent, absolute of a set of causes and conditions. When you come to understand that, then that overcomes the extreme view of nihilism, which begins to say that nothing exists at all. So when you are able to dispel these two extreme views by understanding appearance and emptiness, by making sense of appearance of phenomena and emptiness of phenomena, then you come to realize also that emptiness arises as cause and effect. Emptiness arises, the emptiness, the nature, the nature of emptiness in phenomena, the emptiness of phenomena being truly existent, also arises not as a kind of absolute fact that is not dependent upon causes and conditions. That emptiness itself depends on causes and conditions. Then, if you have come to such a correct understanding, then you will never be enticed or you will never be kind of interested by these extreme views of nihilism and absolutism. Maybe we need a break, tea break.
Don't ever stop.